That'll have a good night.
We need a strong, sure, Joe Biden. We know that this is not about ideas, unfortunately, it's about personality. And people know who Trump is, and it doesn't matter. So the lift is higher for Biden. If he appears weak, unfortunately, he might lose some people. So I hope he just stays focused, sure and steady presidential.
Sarah Fagan?
I think that he needs to go out and make the case that he
their family and their future. He's got to, in 1992 in New Hampshire, Bill Clinton said, the hits on me are nothing like the hits your kids are going to take unless we turn this country around. It's their kids, their future. Don't make it about two guys just fighting about themselves. Go to the American people, right to the camera, look at them and say, this is your fight, and I want this.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Tiziana Baldonebro, and I am the Executive Director here at Spaces. Thank you for joining us for this non-traditional online watch party of the first 2020 presidential debate. We hope that it provides a bit of humor, conversation, and introspection to the evening. This is the first debate between Joseph Biden and Donald Trump and will be moderated by Fox News' Chris Wallace. This debate is hosted by Case Western Reserve University and Cleveland Clinic, right here in Spaces' very own Cleveland, Ohio. We note that there may be some strong language, possibly not suited for children. Additionally, the opinions of our guests are solely their own and do not represent that of Spaces. But of course, we do encourage you to visit us, share your opinions, and hear what our staff have to say. This event is going to be hosted by Jasmine Golphin, Diana Hildebrand, and Ephraim Nehemiah. Jasmine is a filmmaker, artist, producer, and arts educator with an intense obsession with the craft of storytelling. Her writing has been published widely, and her film work has been recognized by Octavia Spencer's Short Film Competition and the Short Sweet Film Festival. This year, Jasmine joined Maelstrom Collaborative Arts as a cadre member and launched the abolitionist task force organization, Black Spring Cleveland. Diana Hildebrand is a mom, activist, advocate, and bike enthusiast. Her goal is to change lives 2 wheels at a time. She is the founder of Diva D Cycling, which provides education, health, wellness, and support to bike organizations and companies. She is also the Shiro for the Cleveland chapter of Black Girls Do Bike, a national bike organization geared to get more women on bikes and provide a platform for women of color. Ephraim Nehemiah is a published writer, educator, and nationally touring poet who uses call and response, compelling narratives, and cultural expression rooted in Black performance art. They have taught and coached nationally ranked teams and have also performed extensively with many organizations. Ephraim is the recent recipient of Caramu's In the House residency, as well as the Cleveland Arts Prize's On the Verge Fellowship, and will be completing their first full-length poetry collection and one-person show, which will debut in 2021. We thank you all for joining us this evening, and now I will hand you over to one of our hosts, Jasmine.
Hello, everyone. Just a brief introduction. I am a filmmaker. I am a producer, an artist, a shit talker, absurdist, and well, I'm gonna laugh a lot, either in a deep existential kind of way where, you know, maybe teetering on madness, or just at the absurdity of what I see in front of me. All of this to say, I plan on being very transparent about my feelings, and I'm looking forward to hopefully giving you a cathartic moment as I say consistently, what the actual fuck.
I don't know how I can come behind that girl. Like, what? Hi, everybody. I'm Diana, and I am a free-spirited activist, and I'm here for the bullshit and the shit show. You hear me? I got my chips. I got my vodka. I got my cranberry ginger ale. I'm ready for it. The media have been hyping it up. Trump is we can say that before as the debate happens, because he's gonna show his ass. Can you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Please do not, take it personal, but you're gonna take it personal. Search deep down in yourself, okay? But if I do this, that means whatever, okay? Like whatever, okay? So make sure you comment below. Make sure you like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you follow Spaces on YouTube. And I'm here for it. I'm glad to be a part of this crew. So let's get it popping.
Yes, you're already blessing my life. I'm Ephraim Nehemiah. Yeah, we're gonna be here. We're gonna see what's going on. See how the way all these things connect to other things that's already been happening, things that's happened in the past, how it's gonna affect things in the future. We already know what it is, but to be in this space together, where we can all watch this, you know what I'm saying? Know that we ain't tripping when we see these things going on, because sometimes people be acting like we ain't see the same thing. So to have all these voices being able to confirm what we witnessing in front of our eyes, but also, you know what I'm saying, grow and learn from each other's perspectives, I'm definitely here for. So yeah, the things about to happen, and we're gonna be talking about the things that's happening.
President Biden.
How you doing, man?
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to
Already mad, all right? Already upset.
Vice President Biden. You say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight: why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way. In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time, even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that we have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, at a time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they try and do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also, definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is. And that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is, because that's the only way the American people get to express their view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that, he ran on that, and he's been governing on that. He's in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now.
So like this is the most boring answer.
And the justice.
What is happening?
Look, I was just about to say, Joe need to be coming strong. Like, what is he doing?
What is going on?
He needs to.
Right.
Do you know we are in a pandemic? Can you put some bass in your voice?
The other thing, and if they're struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally changed. Once again, a woman could be held more money because she has a pre-existing condition of pregnancy.
Remember the kids on the Peanuts where they would have the teachers and the teachers be like, wah, wah, wah,
yeah.
wah.
And that when we have
real strong Peanut vibes here.
And there's 100 million people have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate...
I'm trying to make sense. I'm trying to make this make sense.
I'm trying.
If not, we should wait until...
Already.
A lot of 100 million people with pre-existing...
These are our options.
As far as the say...
These are our options. This is...
At their say. They...
Right.
Okay. Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point... 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
It's elected to the next
during that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years.
But I think
100 million people, Joe. 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that.
Why not call him out? Are they talking why didn't Biden call him out?
distinguish 180
I have similar questions.
their private health care. That's not true. Well, you said
Oh my God. Let me.
I just, you would know we were in the middle of an actual pandemic right now and a revolution.
Right.
I'm literally looking at my phone to make sure that my friends are coming home safe tonight.
Yes.
And y'all are reading me the Dewey Decimal System? Like, what's happening?
they will. Under my control. Not what you said, and it's not what our party has said. The party doesn't say it. Your party wants to go socialist medicine and socialist
Right
healthcare.
now, I am
And
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now. The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I, in fact, approved of. What I approved of. Now, here's the deal. The deal is that it's going to wipe out pre-existing conditions. And by the way, the 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act? And
Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about.
And if you were here,
Look,
it
here's
wouldn't
the
be
deal.
200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You
Late
didn't
on
want me
the
to
draw.
ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
All right, gentlemen,
which
no,
was
Man's our moderator. Like,
Mr. President,
Ain't either one of them answering the question.
moderator,
what was the question?
talk about COVID in the next segment. Go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is all.
you don't know it's on the ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why is it
you
on the
said
ballot? It's not on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the
I don't
court.
think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, would
And you
just
don't
be
know
quiet for a minute?
her view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't
don't
know her
know.
view.
Well, all right, let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time. On healthcare, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn
That's right.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask that question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan
Yes, I
to
have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
It's true.
Yes, you better tell him that.
Rid of the mandate.
That is not a comprehensive plan.
That is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst
I
part
didn't
of
ask,
Obamacare.
sir.
Chris,
You're
that was
debating
the
him,
worst
not
part of
me. Let me
Obamacare.
ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe.
I
The
know.
individual mandate was the most unpopular
Mr. Vice
aspect of
Mr.
Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like
And
you
we
to,
will protect
Mr.
people with
President, I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Go ahead.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare. And just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump healthcare
All
plan?
right. Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just that. There's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you
I
go.
bet you this man does not read what he signs.
Oh, no.
Guarantee you that. Here's your crayon. Color for me.
You could just throw paper airplanes at him and he would just catch them in the air and sign them and throw them back. Because there's no way. They had to oh my gosh. The fact that we have to have this conversation. Like, they had to redesign the daily briefs because he would not read all the details. So they put more pictures and graphs in it. These are our options. And everyone's like, this is normal. I should have brought some alcohol is what I should have done. And I said I wasn't going to do it because I didn't want to risk alcoholism. I'm going to eat this carrot
Yes.
The argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
will, if I can ask you the question, it will
Not what
end.
your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of healthcare.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, the
I-
far left, on the manifesto, we
You-
call it.
what
That
manifesto-
gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you saying
I'm
you
not gonna
didn't
listen to him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm
Not
here
by much.
standing facing you already.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days early. You would have lost every
All
primary
he knows how to
on
do
Super
is
Tuesday. You got
What keeps cracking me up is like the insistence on decorum
and tonight I'm going to make
in
sure
a moment of absolute chaos against
that
maybe actually the Joker incarnate. Like,
everybody knows he's a liar.
what are we holding on to here?
I want to make sure.
You wanted last in your class, first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
He doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be surprised.
you picked
Be surprised.
the wrong guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders at the
whole
manifesto.
idea-
Now you're disavowing.
There is no manifesto, number
Please let
one.
him speak, Mr.
Number
President.
two,
You just lost the left.
number two,
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
folks,
Absolutely
folks,
agreed.
do you have any
Under that
idea
thing
what
that
this plan's
socialized, they
doing?
call it
Mr.
do you have any
President.
socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I tell
President,
you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now, and he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price.
And
Because
by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it.
Why is my man like talking to like why do you like give me this soft voice? Why?
well, speaking of
I
consent,
don't need Mr. Rogers right now, my man. Like I need.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better. And I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed that. They shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me.
Like
People. I said,
divorce city.
I just had a meeting with them. The problem is, no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive. Premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to
Cheaper
give you roughly equal time. Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
Please.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a healthcare plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right,
He's
I have one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take in that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
You're gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
your
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would
because-
you answer that
because
question?
the
You
question
worked with a lot
is,
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is,
justices,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
Right, gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
We're not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They should.
47 years, you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject. So
Yo, dog, I need a break already. Like, I need
Trump is taking this shit personal.
personal. But like, my thing is,
Like he's acting like his feelings is oh my goodness, this baby.
but like, my thing is, see, I can't get surprised at Trump. Trump been Trump. I mean, like, you got all this time to prep, and this is what you bring. This is what you bring. See, I can't get surprised at Trump. Trump been Trump. I mean, like, you got all this time to prep, and this is what you bring. This is what you bring. I'm on it also, so I didn't want to talk over myself. I don't know what to do there, but let me see if I can fix that. Hold on. Maybe that'll help. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Now I can't hear y'all.
I'd say you good now.
Okay. All right.
I hear you.
Okay, cool. No, I'm
I'd say you good now.
I'm pressed right now. Like the political analyst in me is pressed because you guys folks paid to have studied this man for the last 4 years. How do you not know that Trump is being Trump? He's been Trump since The Apprentice. He's been Trump since Home Alone. What did you think he was about to do? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Here's your backbone in the middle of a pandemic in the port city. What did you think he was about to do? Why? Mm-hmm. Backbone in the middle
Wow.
of a pandemic in the port city. What did you think he was about to do? Why? Mm-hmm. Backbone in the middle
Wow.
of a pandemic.
Exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
So if we would have listened to
you
you,
have 2 minutes, sir.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of you Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are
down.
Fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession.
You made a
There was no recession.
You made a point. Let him answer.
And there was we didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding a phone up so you could, in fact, say goodbye.
You would have lost far more people. And you would have been.
And by the way,
your
own his own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up. He said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You don't trust Johnson, Pfizer?
Okay, by the way, gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future, because you both have touched on two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused.
I'm going to pop in real quick just to mention that the first televised presidential debate was between John F. Kennedy, of course, and Richard Nixon. And one of the things that the Nixon team learned from that night, because technically he was better prepared, better seasoned than Kennedy was the fact that Nixon looked real pale and sickly and, weak in comparison to the young, vital, tan Kennedy, who knew how to be charming to the cameras, whereas Nixon didn't. And so that's a famous, not only story in the history of television, because it teaches us things about makeup and the power of the sort of confidence to have when you're on camera, but it also is a very important story in the history of politics. I just thought I'd just throw that fun fact out there. Bye.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And they were saying those who listened on the radio favored Nixon, those who watched it favored Kennedy. But I mean, it really speaks to how it's really it's a game, right? It's even this, right? It's a debate. It's not about who presents the most facts and gets over. The debate is a competition, right? And so when you're in a competition, you pull out different stops, you're doing out these different things. It's not about who's the most righteous. It's all presented, even the forum is presented as a game. You know what I'm saying? So like how much of what is thrown out there as if these are things that are supposed to be fair or are impartial or unbiased and all these things, but it's not. That's why I call it a reality show, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how it's structured, like for entertainment as opposed to for what's best for the people they say it's supposed to be for.
Right. Like, I mean, just the very basis of the framework of how these debates are held is not conducive to understanding the complex positions this potential presidential candidate has. So it's not even like we're playing in good faith. So my thing is, and this is where my anger comes from, is but Biden, you've been in this game. Like this, you ain't new to it, man. Like you've been doing this. So how is it that you don't know what to prepare for? Why are you letting him pull you into this muck? This is muck. In the same way I tell folks, I don't argue about whether or not Black Lives Matter. Like I don't argue facts. Okay. So why would I argue if I'm not going to argue about whether or not the sun's going to come up? And I'm not going to argue about Black lives and whether or not they matter. I pull you into an argument that is ludicrous. If I'm not going to argue about whether or not the sun's going to come up.
Here at this great hospital that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And by the way,
to the scientists that are in charge, by the way, they will have the vaccine very soon.
But do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID. He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe. If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
You see,
and it's
We're going
going
to
up
get to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Forward to
When it comes to how the virus has been handled so far, the two of you have taken very different approaches, and this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you ends up becoming the next president.
Oh, tooted out right now. How are we having this conversation? His butt is literally tooted out. Like,
reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to
Tell
provide
that to
them.
Nancy Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi. And Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he sits on his golf course and, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play more than I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact?
Well, he wants to shut down this country.
Oh.
And I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election on November 3rd. Because it's a political. But those states are not doing well that are shut down right now.
President Trump, you have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer.
the more you engage directly with this lunacy, the more you validate its lunacy, and therefore make it normalized. You have to call this stuff out, okay? You just have to you have to cut his mic. You have to call it out. Otherwise, we're making it seem like this is somehow normal. It is not. We all know it is not. Everyone who's got eyes knows that this is not normal. You have to call it out, or everyone's going to think, oh, now this is normal. I just really need a blunt.
Go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money.
And I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
Dr. Fauci said the opposite.
I want to ask you, we got a minute left in this segment.
Masks are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks good. I'm okay with masks.
I want to ask you both about one last subject, because your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir, agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
nobody will show up.
People with
nobody shows up to his rally.
All right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You go first, sir.
because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
you've
not
done a
worried
great
about it
job as a
spreading disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you
as
not worried
hangars, and
about
we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issues,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay.
By the way, did you see one of the last big rallies he had, and a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35, 40,000
All right,
people
you wanna-
at these rallies.
Just
Yes.
quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encourage them not to.
All right.
Ben, he's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody cares.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the
Nobody cares.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
If someone don't play knuck if you bug.
I think that we're recovering faster than expected from the shutdown.
Much faster.
In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do.
Did people say China plague?
And again, 2 million people would be dead now instead of still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. It should never happened. But what happened is we closed it down and now we're reopening and we're doing record business. We had 10.4
I lost audio.
to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening in some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open
Trying
this.
to get annoyed
Look at
by Trump.
When you look
Go
at
to your local grassroots organizations in your city.
you get
Black Lives Matter,
it's not fair.
Black Swing Cleveland.
In prison.
There's a lot
Going
you
on.
can donate to
Look at what's
support
going
the
on.
grassroots efforts in your community.
Very, very sad.
You know, if you just happen to have a sense of doom and dread right now,
Our
at
country
your options.
is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right. Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's
Who cares? Who cares? What is a K-shaped? I don't care. Hey, you know what I hear about?
Have done very-
I don't have a second stimulus check.
Billionaires have made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax proposal, and he only focused on the market. But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how well are you doing? This guy paid a total of $750 in taxes.
Sir, wait, no, sir, it's just,
Mr.
I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he has, in fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there
People
That's actually not a really good fact to you.
make sure that we can all.
He's also the first president to have a
Go forward
worldwide
and open when you have
epidemic
almost half the
pandemic.
states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases.
Oh, I didn't know I was doing
In the United States of America, and he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? He can't fix the
You know
economy.
what I'm saying? Like, you can't say
The COVID crisis.
lost the most amount of jobs.
Doing
Any
anything
other president.
better